Howdy folks, Nathan Adlam here in sunny summertime, Rocky Mountain, Colorado. And behind me is the 2014 Toyota Sienna Limited. Now, it has all-wheel drive and it is fully loaded all the way up, and it comes in at just over $48,000. Coming up next, is it worth it? This is the venerable, seen everywhere 3.5 liter V6 that puts out 266 horsepower and 245 pound-feet of torque. It's hooked up to a 6-speed automatic transmission, and this model has all-wheel drive. There used to be a 4-cylinder available, but they no longer offer that. In this, guys, the way it's set up, it can tow 3,500 pounds. Not bad. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying. This is a minivan. There's no joy or fun in it. It's boring. It's a box on wheels. Well, actually, if this is the SE version of this, it would have some cool little things like little kick panels. It would have a sports suspension and different wheels, and it looks a little bit more aggressive. As it is, I don't think it's an ugly van. In fact, compared to, say, the Nissan Quest, I think it's a little bit better looking, and I think it's more contemporary looking than the Chrysler. So, you know, what you're looking at here is a design that's been around for a little while, but I wanted to point out one thing that I'd noticed, and that is the front end of this vehicle. The reason why is somebody once said the front end looks like an SUV. Whoever they were, well, they're on drugs. But otherwise, yeah, it's relatively handsome. These are 18-inch wheels, and they come standard, this design that is, with the Limited. Each model has their own set of wheels. And, well, I don't think they're terrible looking. The one thing I do have against them, though, is the fact that the rubber that's on here is not great for super all-season driving, because this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. I'd rather have some more aggressive tread. This is probably one of the most comfortable minivans I've driven, period. And hey, Andre, say hi to the people.
Здорово, привет.
No, say órale pues.
Hola.
Close enough. There's a big discrepancy in the world of all-wheel drive vehicles. A lot of people will go out and buy an all-wheel drive crossover without the intention of actually using it. You have a minivan. Surprisingly, more people use vehicles like this to go up to the ski slopes and to go camping than they would crossovers. Now, I'm not saying that in general or even per capita. I'm saying that I've noticed it, and I'm sure some of you have as well. Minivan drivers tend to be very community-oriented. They like kids, they like bringing people together, and they like being able to show tourists from out of town the sights in their very comfortable, and you got to agree, Andre, this is an extremely comfortable minivan. So our family from Eastern Europe or other bloc countries come in. It'd be nice to have something like this to travel around in and show them. With that said, that's exactly the reason why I would rather have a sedan with rock-hard suspension that would make them uncomfortable and incontinent as I drive. Allow me to elucidate. Come here. Look at this. Yep. Now, initially, this thing starts off down here, but what you can do, if I can grab the right handle, you can make this come up, and this can go forward. Now, what you have to do is pull the seat back, like so, and if Andre weren't driving this thing and having freakishly long legs like giraffe, then perhaps I could actually put my legs up. Tell you what, check out the other side. So, in we go. Now, front passenger seat is all the way up, so someone who would be very short would be ahead of me. First thing I'm gonna do is slide this back. Look how far this goes back. And there's still room for very, very small children in the back. Then I'm gonna lift this up, and I'm gonna push this forward. Oh, almost there, and then, oh, are you kidding me? Oh, I could go coast to coast in this. And the seatbelt is actually part of the chair, so it moves around seatbelt's not hooked up to the body. It's good. There is a 16-inch screen. Why don't you show the people there?
Ah, смотри.
Yeah, it's massive.
Oh.
Yeah, the kids are going to battle over that one. Now you can go split screen, or you can put just one image on the screen. There are various videos that I actually cover the entire thing, kind of a wide format. But for the most part, it's damn massive. All right. Shutting the AC off. I'm going to rev it. Not that it really is going to make a big difference, but I'm leaving the traction control on for this run. And away we go. It actually feels pretty good off the line. I mean, you know, for a big van. And we're running out of runway. Oh yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. 10.42. 10.42. That was my first run with everything pretty much on except for air conditioning. So, by the way, nowadays air conditioning rarely affects the vehicle like it used to, because a lot of them are electric, so they don't have a pulley that's yanking power off the engine. I said yanking. Next I'll say fire. So, try this again. We're at the IMI racetrack, by the way, which is our new official home for 0 to 60 on track times. It's because we're dangerous like that. Actually, it's because we're safe like that. I'm going to turn the traction control off. Sometimes it'll let you rev a little bit higher. Let's see here. Solo DL's working. Turn that off. And that was off. Okay. And away we go. Not as punchy this time. There's a lot of weight in this thing, you know? Good brakes. Good brakes. All right. The seatbelt just squeezes the life out of you. 10.41. So really no major measurable difference. Well, what were you expecting? A Ferrari exhaust? You know, a big bad Hemi? Look, it's a minivan, but with that mellow sound comes very good gas mileage for an all-wheel drive vehicle this size. It gets 19 miles per gallon combined. That means it's 16 miles per gallon city, 23 miles per gallon highway. We've been averaging 22.1 miles per gallon, and that's been with mostly highway driving, so there's no reason to assume that Toyota's wrong about their estimates. Now, if you guys are used to higher-end Toyotas, I'm not talking Lexus, I'm talking higher-end Toyotas like the Avalon or the Highlander, then this interior is going to feel very familiar because it has a lot of similar themes and it has a similar type of feel. There are a few things that are a bit of an issue. For one thing, this hard plastic on the upper door panel I'm not a big fan of, and some of you larger people who rest your elbows up here, you're not going to like it either. And there's a large piece of plastic that sort of covers the entire front of the dash, and although it looks good, it doesn't feel so great. Other than that, the rest of the interior is very well laid out. It's very comfortable, especially the seats. Now, I'm not just talking about the front seats, I'm talking about the second and third row. All right, so 39.1 cubic feet behind the third row seat. Now, that's a lot of space, and the reason there's so much room is because they drop it down way in there, so we're able to get a winch back here, because everybody carries a winch in the back of their minivan, and a child seat, which nobody carries in the back of their minivan. The point is that there is a lot of extra space, and if you get the vehicle version of the Sienna that doesn't have the middle row seat, which is this thin seat that you can plug in between the 2 passenger seats in the middle, it would be able to go in right over here. But being that this doesn't have it, there's all this extra storage space right over there available. Pretty cool. I don't want to say I'm a massive advocate of minivans. It would be unfair because I see them as exactly what they truly are, utility vehicles. And they really are utilitarian. How about that? But do you want to know why? Because I've seen minivans used for literally generations, it would seem, moving amateur rock bands from point A to point B, soccer teams, lumber, animals, bicycles, I mean, you name it. That's what these things do. They're built for everything. The only thing you can't do with a minivan that you can do with a crossover is go over relatively high obstacles. This has a pretty low front end, especially if you get the SE model, because it has the side sills that hang kind of low too. But with that said, and so many of you point this out on video when I say it, well, we'll never take a crossover off-road. Okay, which by the way is untrue, because by the act of me doing it, that means that someone is actually taking one off-road. But what you're saying is right, because this minivan, well, it's never really going to go off-road. Well, actually, I'm stupid enough to try it. But the point is that normally speaking, it wouldn't go off-road, even a little bit. Minivan will see snow. Minivan will see a dirt road or two. This all-wheel drive system is absolutely solid. I've driven Siennas with front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive in snow, in mud, over loose dirt, gravel, basically whatever Colorado has to dish out. I've done it in a Sienna, and it's always worked out for the best. The only thing I've ever been a little iffy about is the fact that the tires are very street-oriented, so they had a little bit of adhesion issues with snow and ice, but it was nothing that the all-wheel drive couldn't help with. When you look at the competition, and there is a lot of competition in this field, I would say the main competitor that goes directly against the Sienna is the Honda Odyssey. They're very close in many, many ways, but this is the only one you can get with all-wheel drive. And between the two of them, I think this is the better vehicle. Now, there is a bracket that we're starting to use that puts a vehicle within its segment, and that is, well, minivans. I personally like the Mazda 5, by the way, because it's one of the only minivans you can get with a manual transmission option, but it's much smaller than this vehicle. So, compared to the larger ones, the Odyssey, the Sedona, vehicles like that, this is the best in the segment. It gives you a lot of options, it gives you a lot of vehicle for the money, and frankly, I think that as a family vehicle, it's pretty damn good. With the old rating system, buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, I give it a buy it. For the Fast Lane Car, this is Nathan Adlin. Love ya! 66 horsepower and 245 pounds. Is it 45 or 244? Okay, so it's a minivan. You're not going to hear a whole lot anyway. I don't know of any minivan that sounds good, frankly. But what you do get with that sound is some decent economy for an all-wheel drive van, or the only all-wheel drive van. It gets 16 miles per gallon on the highway and 23 miles per gallon